Food markets only.
Meet Susie Smart, she is so bright. On her blackboard you can write. She has a desk, she has a seat. What's your name, my darling sweet?
My name is Susie Smart.
She can talk!
She can talk, but can she add?
2 plus 2 is 4. Cat, C-A-T.
You can spell!
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how
You recite!
Press the button, she says a dozen things, complete with desk, blackboard, and seat. Susie Smart, sold at food markets only.
What's this stuff? Some cereal. It's supposed to be good for you. Did you try it? I'm not going to try it. You try it. I'm not going to try it. Let's get Mikey. Yeah. He won't eat it. He hates everything. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Cheeseburger, 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 cheeseburger. Penny, penny, penny.
Well, good evening, everybody. It's not Penny and it's not the Cheeseburger Boy, but it is Susie Q96 and no M3 tonight. He's discovered that Mom put the electric blanket on the bed, and so he thinks he's got him to go along with his heating box. He's got him a heating blanket, so he's hanging out in there. Y'all gonna have to excuse me, but I need to finish the last 3 bites of my dinner before it gets cold. So I'm gonna talk with my mouth full and be a total pain in the butt. In the interim, I finally got the comment video for the how much Clad was in the plastic bags up. So at the top of the stream, pinned up there, is where you can go and make your guess after looking at a short video and guess how much money you think is in that jar. And we will be taking speculations and guesses until midnight, well, 11:59 p.m. on November 29th. And then we will be giving away a 1964 Kennedy half, which I did find in one of those hunts, but I did not put any of the silver in the box. And then there'll be some other little odds and ends that will go along with that, but you will get definitely a silver half. And I think I have a silver Canadian dime and a silver Rosie that are going to go with that. And then I can dump that change in with the rest of the change that I got to roll and take back to the bank. We will be doing the 12 days of Christmas. It will not be as big and elaborate as they have in the past, because I'm getting ready to move and I'm also trying to wrap up all this medical doodah. Speaking of which, you know that procedure I was supposed to have yesterday? Well, the medical transport failed to show up. So I don't want to go into a big long thing, but I spent the whole day trying to get there. Doctors were rearranging their schedules, all kinds of stuff, and I never did get there. And so then I called the doctor who had scheduled that procedure. He wasn't actually doing the procedure, he did the actual implant. Uh, and they told me that, well, we can do it at the other hospital that's an hour further away on the 19th, but you would have to be here at 6 a.m. Well, if we can't get the transport to show up at my house at 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. or 9 a.m., how in the heck are we going to get them to show up at 4 a.m.? They don't even run at 4 a.m. So as of now, the procedure is completely on hold. They tried to call me to reschedule it today, and I just didn't even answer the phone because I actually want to speak to the doctor and find out if, what do they want to do? Because the hospital they had me going to said they can't get me in until January. Well, I don't anticipate being here in January. So I discussed it with my brother, and he says that if the doctor that put the thing in says that it's not life threatening that I have this procedure right away, that I should probably just wait until I get to Michigan. So, but I was so upset yesterday that I decided today I wasn't doing anything that had anything to do with that. So instead, I did stuff like chop up vegetables, um, gather up my detecting equipment, and I'm getting it ready to take all the batteries out and clean it all up and put it away because the weather here is not conducive to using it right now, which is part of our topic of discussion tonight. I do actually have sort of a topic of discussion for the show. And I also know now why I am not getting any viewers no matter what time I move to. And that's because one of the larger coin channels, and I have nothing against this channel, I watch them periodically, but they have hundreds of viewers, and I can't compete with them. And it doesn't matter. I moved my time and they moved their time. And I moved my time again and they moved their time. So for right now, I'm just going to leave everything like it is because once I get to Michigan, a whole lot of things about my show are going to change. But you're still going to get all your funny stories. And oh boy, I got a couple new ones. Oh boy. Yeah. I got one about rock and roll stalkers and all kinds of stuff. And in fact, I may be, once I get to Michigan, putting together a whole different show because there's a bunch of you that like to hear my music stories. Uh, so before we get into the metal detecting discussion, um, I had a rent-a-car over the weekend, which I know that seems frivolous while I'm raising money, but it actually was part of the move because I have to finish emptying the storage unit and taking the things out of there and either packing them for the move or taking them down to the local thrift store. We have a couple of thrift stores, but we have one that the stuff they sell, they use the money to buy food, and they make food boxes for people who need food. So I try to take stuff down there as often as I can. Some of you may have seen this video, and some of you may not have, but I made a little video the other day when I made the first trip down to the storage unit. I never pay attention on rent-a-cars what license plate they have on them. It was blue and white, so I assumed it was Virginia or North Carolina, which both have blue and white plates. And I walked around the back to open the tailgate. It was a pretty good sized van that I got. I wanted an SUV, but they didn't have what I wanted, so they upgraded me to this van and they gave me some free gas. And so anyway, I walk around to the back of this thing and I push the button to open the tailgate. The tailgate gets right even with my eyes, and I am staring at not a Virginia plate, not a North Carolina plate. I'm staring at pure Michigan. I got a rental vehicle with Michigan plates. First Michigan plates I've seen since I've been living in Virginia. So, needless to say, I'm taking that as a sign that I'm going in the right direction. So that was a good thing. Well, in the course of, I threw a bunch of stuff out and I put some stuff in boxes for uh, to take to the thrift store, and then I put some stuff in boxes and marked it Michigan. Well, I found 3 more boxes full of photographs, and um, there were 2 funny things about that. Number one, I've been selling a bunch of my records, my 45s, on eBay. Now, that money, that's just discretionary money, and that is what I used to rent the vehicle. So I did still use it for the move, but it does not have to go towards the move. It can go towards medical or paying my light bill or buying them 3 a new mouse, because it is not a donation. It is me selling my personal property. Well, one of the things I was looking for in there is I have some very rare photos of bands from the early and mid 60s. And I thought I also had taken photos of these bands. And I've been going through all these boxes looking for them, because some of them became people that were pretty famous and are still famous. And one of them was my friend Charlie Souza, who played in a Florida band called the Tropics for many years. And then he played in what was called the New Rascals, which was half of the Young Rascals with a couple of other guys. So anyway, I ended up finding several pictures of Charlie, and then I found what to me was, it was like finding gold. I found photographs from 1966 of the Young Rascals. I still haven't found any more question mark in the Mysterians photos, but I know where most of those are. They're here in the apartment. But one of the interesting things is the way I spelled photograph on the envelope in 1966, because photograph is spelled Photograph. But I thought I was being a cute little hippie back in 65 and 66. And on this old worn brown envelope, I mean, the envelope's falling apart, but the pictures are there. And on the envelope, I spelled it Photograph. Now, that in itself just looks like a little cutesy thing, except that 2.5 decades later, in the mid 80s or early 90s, a band came out called Photograph, Photograph, the same way I spelled it on that envelope. Now, guess who was in Photograph, Photograph? Gene Cornish and Dino Danelli from the Young Rascals, whose pictures were in the envelope that I labeled Photograph. That's pretty freaking weird. I'm gonna scan it in. I'm gonna lay all the pictures that were in there. Dino passed away last December, but Gene Cornish is on my Facebook page. I'm gonna spread those all out with that envelope and scan it in, and I'm sending it to Gene Cornish, because the chances of me writing that word spelled that way on an envelope full of their pictures 25 or so years before they ever named their band that's pretty weird. I freaking love it. And I was so happy that I found the pictures. I am going to put them into Photoshop because you can see Eddie Brigatti really well in them. And I can see Dino off to the side, and I can see Gene, but back then cameras weren't like they are now. So I'm going to try to put them in and adjust the exposure and see if I can pull the rest of the band up some. Oh, yeah, I think it's a fabulous story, and I wish Dino was still alive because he would have loved it. He would have absolutely loved it. So then the other part of what was so strange, and I'm just telling this so I can give everybody time that wants to run over there and watch that video. But the other part of what was weird today with that band and the deal with the records is when I sell 45s, I put info about the bands. If they're like obscure bands that had somebody big in the band later, I try to put that in there because I learned that if you Google eBay, and let's say I Googled eBay and Charlie Sousa, because I mentioned Charlie earlier. And I have Charlie's name in my eBay description. Google's going to pull that up. So it gets more people to look at what you're selling. So I wanted to test my theory, and I had put a couple of records by the Tropics up there, and I mentioned two bands that people came out of and went into bigger bands. One of them was my old landlord, Buddy Pendergrass, who, with one of his friends, started one of the first glitter glam rock bands. They were called White Witch. And the other person that came out of the tropics and went on and played in the Rascals was Charlie Souza. So I mentioned these two guys' names in the description of the record I was trying to sell. And then I went and Googled it to see what what would come up. And it landed me on a YouTube video that I have never seen before, that was a whole show from 2008 of the New Rascals with my friend Charlie Souza playing bass for them. And I had never seen it before. So this afternoon, instead of dealing with grumpy doctors and people that couldn't bother to show up and take me to my surgery, I spent the afternoon watching a couple of my friends on a video that I had never seen before. Leanne, actually, I started a book. I've started two of them. One of them is just about bands from Florida that were from all the towns that ran along the I-4 corridor, which basically runs from Daytona Beach down to Tampa, Bradenton, Sarasota area, cuts right across the state. And I ended up in the hospital. The link that's pinned is the comment video for the change jar. Let me see if I still have it. I can try and see if this works. Okay, see if that works. Anyway, I started that book, and I've found the box today that has all the newspaper clippings and a bunch of the photos and concert flyers and things that go with that. And then I started another book that is about life experiences. Like, my poor mother didn't think I was ever going to get married. I didn't get married until I was in my 40s because frankly, I was having fun. I worked in rock and roll. I worked in radio. I worked in stock car racing. And the biggest mistake I made was marrying who I married. But I had dated this same guy off and on for 15 years, and he made me really mad. Really, really, really mad. And I did one of those stupid rebound deals. And he did the same thing. That's what's so funny about it. You'll hear me talk about my friend Tommy, the race car builder. He did the same thing. We both kind of wandered aimlessly around for about 5 years and ended up marrying different people. Both of us were married to each one of those people for 10 years before we just walked away from them because it wasn't happening. But Tommy and I did not get back together for another 15 years. I was still legally married to the other guy. And by the time Tommy and I rediscovered each other, we got to spend the last 2 years of his life seeing each other periodically because we lived in different states. But I'm glad we resolved the issue anyway. But yeah, I went to see the Outlaws about, sometime, I think it was in September. They played about 50 miles from here. And I worked around that band for so long and hung out with them since I was a teenager that there were people at that show, even though it was in North Carolina. There were people that came up to me at the show and wanted to know if I was still working on my book. And that being said, I could never figure out how I was going to write this book. Well, the other night I kind of figured out how I'm going to put it together, and it's just going to be a series of short stories rather than trying to make it like, oh, when I was 5, I did this, and when I was 6, I did that. And yeah, I'm not going to do it that way. It's just going to be um, as I go through these boxes of things, if I find something that I think is interesting and would make a good little short story, I'll set the articles or the photos or whatever aside and probably do, you know, whichever ones I think are either really funny or really dramatic. I have one in there about being in an actual riot at a rock and roll show. My friend and I didn't have anything to do with the riot, except we almost got killed because of it, because we were right up in the front and people were pushing us forward. But for that reason, we almost got killed, and a famous musician, once he realized what was happening, stopped the show and started helping rescue people, and I was one of the ones that thankfully was rescued. So, yeah, I actually am going to try to put a book together. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of money. It's going to be a self-published deal. Uh, my mom actually wrote a book that way of poems and short stories, and you always think you know your family, and I found out by reading my mom's poetry and short stories that, yeah, I knew my mom, but there was a lot of stuff I did not know about my mom that absolutely was hysterically funny that was in that book. And one of her brothers wrote like 7 or 8 of them. So I think I'm going to do that same kind of format, and that way you can print a short run of them, and if nobody wants to buy them, you haven't lost a bazillion dollars. But and then I have a band that wants me to put together a book that is photos of their band that I have taken throughout different time periods that range from 1966 up until like 2006. And one of them had gotten a hold of me not too long ago looking for a specific photo, which was actually the very first rock and roll photo I ever took, because he wanted to put it in his autobiography. And he asked me if I wanted them to pay me for it, and at the time I just said no. I just want you to give me credit for it. That's all. Just make sure that you include in there that this was the very first rock and roll photo I ever took. And it's not a bad photo. It was cool, a cool enough photo. The guy wanted to put it in his biography. So, all right. I hope everybody has had a chance to get to that comment video. It's going to be up there, like I said, until the 29th, no, the 30th at 11:59. So December 1st will be too late. So you don't have to put your guess in right now. I just wanted you to see where the video was and look at the pictures and kind of get an idea. And to those few of you who faithfully show up every week to watch me, you're going to get a hint. And the hint is that on the YouTube video, there is a picture of coins in a plastic box as a thumbnail. Those are the same coins. It's just if you were in here the night that it happened, the box accidentally fell open, and I had to get my aide Brooke to pick all those coins back up because they went everywhere. That's why I put them in the zippy box or the zippy bag. But if you look at that picture of the coins in the plastic box, you might be able to see better what coins are in there. And I'm not going to tell everybody that. I'm just telling you guys that because you showed up. Hi, Ginger Paranormal. I've been having some spooky things happening lately. So it's appropriate that Ginger is here. I still haven't gotten over that photograph thing, and I still haven't gotten over the Pure Michigan thing. So, anyway, I do have a little topic for discussion tonight because I was packing my detecting equipment up, cleaning it up, taking the batteries out, doing stuff like that because I don't want anything to get ruined over the winter, and I'm too busy and it's too cold. So my topic popped into my head, which is how cold is it too cold to go detecting? Now, I'll tell you what that is to me, but I want to hear from you guys. You know, do you quit going as soon as the temperatures start dropping down into the 40s? Or do you do like the guy up in Alaska that he goes when there's a foot of snow on the ground? If he can get his shovel into the ground, he goes. Now, I've kind of got a funny attitude about it. Ginger, if you go back and you watch this video from the beginning, which would be like watch the first 20 minutes or so, you'll see the two stories about the weird things that happened with Pure Michigan and the photograph. Because I don't understand why either one of those things happened. I mean, I have had some unusual things happen, but these two happened on the same day. It is very, very unusual, at least for me. Yeah, I will usually go detecting until it gets around 45 to 50. But if, like Ginger, if the wind is howling, no, I am not in Michigan. I have been trying to move back to Michigan for 2.5 years, and it is anticipated that I will be there hopefully by Christmas. That's what makes the story a little odd. In fact, it makes it a whole lot odd. Like I said, 45 or 50, as long as there's no wind, I'm good. But if it's really windy or the ground is really soggy, you know, like it has snowed or it has rained profusely, or if the ground is frozen, then and it's frozen for several days, then I just kind of say, okay, it's time to focus on a different hobby until the weather clears up. But I do know people in northern states who continue to go out and detect unless they absolutely can't get a shovel in the ground. So my question is this. If you are one of those people who goes out in the when the temperature's in the 40s and the weather is windy, what do you wear on your feet? I'm having to completely change how I dress for detecting because I now have neuropathy in my feet, so my balance isn't as good. So I've had to switch to different shoes. Um, I've had to switch to different socks. Um, yeah, see, I can't deal with that super cold wind. I can deal with cold. It's that burning wind, and I can't deal with my feet getting cold. I bought these socks. They were like $16, $17. They're supposed to keep your feet warmer than any other socks, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't work. Honey, I wear those suckers to bed and my feet are freezing. The only thing keeping them from not freezing is M3 will curl up on them. So, unless they're going to start selling socks made out of cats, I haven't found a solution yet. So, I'm just curious what the rest of you wear when you go out, and at what point do you stop going out until the weather, the climate changes back? Because now I understand the people in Florida, they can go out, pretty much all year, and I have done that. In December of 2019, a friend of mine uh, wanted me to show her some places, Keen boots and wool socks. I don't know what Keen boots are, Mike, but I'm going to look them up. Uh, anyway, my friend wanted me to show her some places related to a band that I used to work with. And so she paid my way down to Florida in December of 2019. And I got to go see my brother. And then we went to two concerts by this band that she's working on a book about. And at that time, she didn't have a metal detector or really know much about it, but I took mine with me because we were staying on Clearwater Beach. And she had so much fun that she immediately went back to Texas and bought a metal detector in the middle of December. But then I went in a couple of months later. I went back because my brother was sick, and unfortunately, I had to cut that trip short because of the beer virus kicked in. I was there the end of February, the beginning of March for my birthday, and you can detect down there most of the winter, but and I even did some detecting in Georgia because I was in South Georgia, but uh, it's pretty much impossible to detect. I'm in the Blue Ridge, right off the Blue Ridge Parkway in the Appalachian Mountains. So um, today I started cleaning up my equipment and packing it all up because I do not anticipate with the move and my health and this weather that I'm going to be going back out. If I happen to see um, a week or a few days where it looks like I can do it and there's no high winds or anything up in the mountains, we get some terrible wind. And that's a big issue. But I'm just curious, if you do go out in that kind of weather, what you wear. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna look those up. Let me see if I can put that up there. Keenfootwear.com, because I'm gonna need to get a new pair of boots anyway when I get up to Michigan, because the ones I have now, and these are my work boots from when I was living on the farm. Um, but they're a size 8, and as I have gotten older, with the neuropathy and stuff going on in my feet, an 8 is an 8 with heavy socks is too small. So I'm gonna have to get different boots and different clothes, because I had a really nice snowsuit that kept me extremely warm, but I have gained weight. So I actually gave, when I left Michigan, I gave that to Question Mark, and it fits him because he's not a fatty like me. So when I get up there, I'm going to have to pick out new winter clothes, and I want to be sure that I pick out things that are appropriate, not just for winter in general, but also for metal detecting and bottle hunting and that sort of thing. Uh, so I thought, well, I'm going to start looking now at different things. And I thought, a lot of us have a problem picking out what kind of shoes to wear for whatever area we're in. So I figured, well, this would be a good time to discuss it, because maybe Santa Claus will bring you. Well, see, that's the other reason I'm looking at different boots, William, is that I want to make sure that the shoes that I get are the very best I can get for walking on grass and dirt and that kind of thing. I have very good walking shoes for indoors. Yeah, I kind of splurged on them, but it's because I got tired of falling down. But one of the things that I discovered in that hunt was that there are 2 or 3 brands now that are selling on Amazon that will allow you to try them before you buy them, as far as like the indoor, regular walking shoes. And so that way what they do is they will send you the shoes, and you can wear them for 7 days from the time you ordered them. And then if you don't like them, you send them back. Oh yeah, I walk every day, William. Even if it's raining and nasty outside. If it's raining and nasty, I walk inside the building. I live in a 3-story building. And if I feel crappy and I don't want to walk, I do it anyway. I just do it. I have a cane. Actually, I have two different canes, but I also have a rollator, which is basically a walker with a seat. So, since they stopped my physical therapy for whatever their feeble excuse was, I've been doing my own physical therapy, and that includes going out here and walking these halls. And oh yeah, I even went detecting the other day for about 20 minutes. I don't go for very long, but I go and I do it so I can. Sometimes I'm not actually even detecting, I'm just carrying my equipment because I want to make sure I can do that. I actually use my shovel as a cane most of the time because I intentionally purchased my shovel with a long handle. I have a little handle digger too, but the shovel, my bigger shovel, is pretty much the same height as my cane, so I can use it as a cane. And it works quite well. I've been doing that for a couple of years now. And the only time I ever fell while I had my detecting equipment was when that blood clot actually broke loose, and there was no equipment was going to save that. You know, that just happened. But in general, yeah. Um, what I'm trying to do now, when I get up to Michigan, I'm going to talk to a friend of mine about this. And it's kind of an idea that we're stealing from the Amish people. Up in Amish country, and there is a big section, there is a place in Michigan of Amish people. And my friend happened to mention to me that they use the old order Amish buggies where they do not have metal wheels. They have everything's made out of wood. So he's a pretty good woodworker. So we're actually going to try to build a rollator, which is a rolling walker with a seat, but not going to use steel or iron in it. It's all going to be built the way the Amish build their buggies, with wood. So it won't set off my metal detector. It will do everything that my metal rollator will do, but it has no metal in it, so it won't set off the detector. It's kind of becoming a challenge for him, just because he's a really good woodworker. And if he can make that work, that will open the door for some of us older people who have had to stop metal detecting because we have to use a walker or a rollator. Well, if the thing is made out of wood, it's not going to interfere, and it may allow some people who had to quit detecting to detect again. So it's just a little idea we're going to try out. I'm not going to cry if it doesn't work, but he thinks he can do it. And I admire that spirit. So it's something we're going to take a look at. Yeah, if you can make a buggy big enough to pull a horse, or for a horse to pull, and a family of 7 or 8 Amish people inside of it, and it doesn't have any metal things. All a rollator is, it's those walkers you see people have that have a seat on them, so when they get tired, they can just sit down. And the seat usually opens up so you can put your purse or your wallet or whatever in there. But it's just a standard walker with a seat. They fold up just like a regular walker does. But if you get tired, you just stop and you sit down on it. Let me see if I can grab up a picture here and show you what a rollator is. Some of my transport places don't understand what it is either. It's bigger than a walker and smaller than a wheelchair. And it folds up. But I like what this guy's wanting to do is make one that does not have any metal. And that way the metal detector, I can still walk with the rollator, and I in fact can put my stuff in the little basket there. But if it's all made out of wood, it will not set off the detector or the pinpointer. And so he's going to try to create something like that. All right, what is going on here? Oh, why is this not showing? Let me turn that off. Try to come up with ideas that will help people who are disabled to continue detecting. And that kind of happened. I was in Zephyr Hills, Florida, in a park, and there was a gentleman on the sidewalk on a scooter, and he had a dog on a big long chain. Well, not a chain, a leash. And he had a metal detector with him, and he had a pinpointer on a great big wooden broomstick. And his dog, if he found something, then he would sweep the pinpointer over it, and his dog would go over there and dig the hole. And then he had one of those things you use to pick things up when you drop them on the floor, and he would pick the thing up. He said the only thing that he was having a problem with was he had not been able to teach the dog to fill his holes back in yet, but he was working on it. He was going to try and now, since they have the little one that goes, the little shovel that goes on the end of the pinpointer, I wish I had gotten this man's name, because I would have been able then to send him one of those. So I hope he sees it, because it's just such a thing. I'm trying to get this picture to come up here, and it don't want to. Stuff don't want to cooperate with me, and I get mad. Boy, you should mad. You should have seen me yesterday when they didn't show up for my surgery. I'm like, it's not like I'm going for an ingrown toenail or something. This is a heart thing. Why are the wheels going to be hard to do? They do them all the time for Amish buggies. They've been doing them since the 1600s, wooden wheels. What do you think was on stagecoaches? I don't think the wheels are going to be the hard part. I think the hard part is going to be, yeah, no metal. Amish, there are orders of Amish, they're not allowed to have metal on their wheels. Their wheels are all made out of wood. 100% made out of wood. The wheel is made out of wood. The axle is made out of wood. The whole thing, the spokes, everything are made out of wood on probably 75% of Amish wagons. Only the more modern Amish sects even allow them to use metal on the wheels. So where is this share screen, Medline, share? Why is this not? I got a problem. I don't know why I got a problem. Oh, okay. Let's get that off there. There we go. Now, that is a rollator. You have, and this all folds up. But this part right here is actually a basket in the center, and it's also a seat. So if you get tired of walking, it has brakes. These are hand brake on the end of the things that you hold. The grips have hand brakes on them, so you can brake it. It's hinged, so it folds up. For the hinges, they use strips of leather. They do not use metal hinges. But that's pretty much how it works. So he wants to try to make one. So if we can do it, how awesome that is going to be for people who can't otherwise get out and detect. That the rubber wheels would be a possibility as well, but I'm talking about you're talking about like the actual tire part. I'm talking about the wheel that the tire part goes on. Cannot be metal because it'll set off the detector. But go look at some videos of Amish wagons, and you will see some of them just absolutely have wooden wheels that have like a tread carved into them. Other ones have wooden wheels with rubber glued onto them, not screwed on. They don't use metal. I will see if I can find one of those. They also make scooters, but not like powered scooters. The kind of scooters that you push with your feet and then you jump on and you roll down the hill. The same way. And they make them in different sizes. Amish heavy duty wagon wheels. Now these obviously are going to be way bigger than what we're going to need. We're only going to need something that's about 6 to 8 inches around, but this will still let me show you the general idea. So they kind of look like that. And of course, like I said, they would be much smaller than this, but this is how they're built. And then they have a wooden axle, but many of the Amish communities do not allow any kind of metal in the wheels of their wagons or their scooters or even laundry carts. So it says here the main timbers used in a traditional wooden wheel are elm for the nave, oak for the spokes, and ash for the felloes, which those are the 3 parts of the wheel. In the mid-19th century, some of them started being allowed to use rubber, and it says the solid rubber strips are fitted to the wagon or coach wheels to soften the ride a little bit, but they don't have any metal at all in them. And so that was where we came up with the idea. It's not going to be something I'm going to be pushing around every day. And that is for a big wheel. We're talking about a small 8-inch wheel, which would be the heaviest part of the thing. The rest of the frame doesn't really have to have much weight to it unless you're going to sit on it. And even then, depending upon how the construction is, it's not going to be that much heavier than lifting a wheelchair. In fact, it's going to be lighter than a wheelchair. It's basically not being built to be a long-term seat as much as it is. Now, if you can't walk at all, this is not going to work for you. But if it's somebody like me, I can walk, but I can't walk and carry all these things at the same time. And the wood is actually going to be a more practical thing simply because the metal would set off the detector. Yeah, like I said, it's all experimental. It might not be heavy either because some of that stuff could be made out of very light wood, because we don't have, for this purpose, we don't have to have a lot of heavy mechanical parts. Some of those parts could be made out of something as light as balsa wood. Yeah, like I said, it's all an experiment, but if it works, it will allow thousands of people to start enjoying their hobby again. You know, people said the same thing about when Les Paul started messing around with electric guitars. Oh, well, that might be too heavy. Look how many people play Les Pauls. They just had to keep redesigning until they made a design that worked. But in this particular case, there can't be any metal because it would set the detector off and defeat the purpose of the invention. But he's just going to try it and see what happens. Worst that happens, it doesn't work. Best that happens is we have just let thousands and thousands of people get off their butts and go back out and enjoy their hobby again. And I'm all for that because I don't want to quit. So it is what it is. We're just going to see what happens with it. But we were prompted by seeing the Amish buggies with the wooden wheels. So, well, I know it's metal detecting night, but we've already discussed shoes and clothes and figuring out a way to get people back out there. And so I figured I'm going to do a giveaway. I haven't decided what yet, but I've got a whole box of pennies sitting here. And I think I want to open some pennies, at least a couple of rolls of pennies before I wrap this deal up. But yeah, my helper was supposed to come today, but she got sick. If you could have seen me yesterday, folks, I was seriously ready to just completely give up and just sit in the chair and wait to die. Because the attitude of most of the medical community in this state and of the medical transportation, they don't care. They don't care if you get to the doctor or not. And like I was talking to a lady that lives here in my building today, and she said, well, that's just the way it is everywhere, honey. And I'm like, ma'am, have you ever lived anywhere else? The things that are going in it for storage, you don't carry much in there. You don't carry much when you go detecting. At least I don't. I carry my pinpointer, which is hooked on a lanyard to my pants. I carry my little shovel, which is hooked on a lanyard and in a little stirrup thing on my belt, so it's not going in there. The only thing that's going in there for storage is like a little bottle of water and some Band-Aids and a rag. I'm not going to be carrying a whole bunch of equipment in there. Most of that is hooked onto me, not in the seat. Mostly what the seat will allow me to do is if I need to sit something down, I can sit it on there, like to take a picture of it or something. I'm not planning on packing a foot locker full of stuff in there. I just want like wet wipes, Band-Aids, water. That's about it. The other stuff, I have my pouch with a belt that goes around my waist. That won't be going in the container part. Very few things will be in there. Maybe my extra pair of glasses. I don't think that's going to be enough to cause the seat to the container to collapse. until I can actually show a picture of it, I don't think you're quite grasping what I'm doing, what we're going to do with it. It is not going to be packed full of things. Very few things will be in there. Most of them will still be in my bag that has a belt that goes around my waist. I don't like putting my water in the bag because I put my fines in there and the fines have dirt on them, and then the dirt gets on the water bottle. Yeah, so there won't be much being stored in there. But like I said, this guy is a cabinet and furniture builder. So he will know what weight limit, what particular what particular wood will be able to hold. And like I said, I'm not planning on putting a whole bunch of stuff in there. Most of the stuff is still going to go in the belt, which you put around your waist. So anyway, I'm looking for my cheat sheet. I opened up a roll of pennies. Let's see what we got in here. I just took 2 rolls out, and because I want to, because I want to roll a bunch of this stuff up and get it back to the bank. And we're off. And I'm sitting right under the heater and it's hot. Okay, let's see. Ooh, ick. Ooh, ick. I do not like shield pennies. In fact, I'm going to pick them all out. Yeah, I still can't get over that girl being the branch manager of a bank. I went in the bank to get these coins, and they got a new manager and all new tellers. It looks like they just got rid of everybody that worked there. And I had to explain to the girl what I do with boxes of coins. And this was the teller, and she was actually going to call the police on me because she thought it was illegal. And I told her that she needed to get the manager. So she gets the manager, and the manager does not know the difference between circulated and uncirculated coins. And I'm like, why is this lady working in a bank? and she said she thought that if it came on the Loomis truck or Brinks, or if it came on the bank truck, that they were not circulated coins. And I'm like, no, sweetheart, that's not how it works. So she said, well, we don't have any way to look. And I said, well, here's what you do, sweetie. You let me get the box of coins, and I pay you for the box of coins. I open up the box. I look at the enders, and I had to show her what an ender was. And then if they all have the same date, they're not circulated. If they don't all have the same date, they're circulated. I'm having to explain this to the manager of a bank? Huh? I have debated now for a couple of days on whether or not to call the bank and let them know that this girl was going to call the police on me for trying to get a box full of coins. And I also pointed out to her, I work at the farmer's market across the street. So, I'm a vendor over there. We need coins. And some people charge taxes, so they have to have pennies just like they do any other coin. But I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. How do these people get a job when they don't understand the very basics? I mean, heck, I'm 70 years old and I understand the basics. Pretty weird. But yeah, she had it in her head. Okay, let's see if we got a DDO here. That if it comes on the bank truck, all the coins on the bank truck are brand new. Yeah, I'm just like, well, if they were, what would they be doing with all the old coins? Cuckoo, cuckoo. Okay, 1995. We're looking for a DDO on the obverse. Do we have one? Negatory signore. I gotta roll these coins up. They're over floating. Doody doo. 83. I keep them separate over there. After I do this box, I won't be getting any more boxes until I get to Michigan, because I won't have time to do anything with them. What is that? Oh, copper. I gotta find a copper hopper. Where's the copper hopper? I don't have one out here. Ooh, I'm gonna have to take these things out of this little plastic thing and use it. A little plastic container with an Indian head, a couple of Wheaties, a silver quarter, and a Los Angeles Dodgers house key. And what am I doing with those in a container? They showed up in my mail one day as a gift because I happened to mention in somebody's comment section that I was a Dodgers fan. So those were sent to me probably 3 years ago by a metal detectorist out in California named Robert Ferguson. Close AM. Let's see what we got. See what we got. Nope. See what we not got. Boy, I'm just running everybody off. Nobody's saying a word because I bet every one of you is not. No, actually, uh, I don't know. I haven't looked at mine lately to see if it's wearing through. I've had the same one since 2019, so I'll have to look at mine. But I really like mine because it just stays in place really well. Yeah, isn't he fun, Annette? He's just so laid back, and I don't know. I have probably offended a few detectorists over the years, but I don't care for the ones that get on and start yelling and screaming when they find something. I mean, I understand getting excited, but I don't like the used car salesman approach. They just get on my nerves. I like watching it and doing it for relaxation. And I just don't care for that high, like, and I don't care for ones that say every time they go out that they found 7 rings and a bunch of 1700s coins, because that's just not realistic. That's not really what happens when you go out detecting. Not every day. You may have a day like that, but that is not the norm. That is the exception to the rule. And the reason I don't like that is it gives new people the idea that they're just going to run right out and immediately start finding gold bullion and gold chains, and that they're all going to be Terry Shannon. And if you don't know who Terry Shannon is, he is the guy who found the giant find of shipwreck coins off the sun coast of Florida back many, many years back. But that is something that doesn't happen every day. That very, very rarely happens. Like, what's the biggest find you've had on one hunt? You know, in my case, it was the day I found 3 gold rings on the same day, but it was in 2 different parks. I found 2 of them in one park and the third one in another. You just, once in a while, you'll get lucky. And you'll get lucky because the weather did something really weird and, like, washed, uncovered a bunch of stuff due to a storm or something. But in general, you're not going to go out every day and find 7 or 8 gold rings and a gold pendant and all of this stuff. It just, no. And when they do that, and they do it like 2 or 3 times a week, um, people think that's the way metal detecting is. And then they get out there and it doesn't happen. And they get discouraged very quickly. And the next thing you know, they've got a $700 door stop because they didn't find anything of value the first 2, 3 times they went out. And so they just quit. I make it a point of showing the junk that I find. There's way more junk, as we found out in my last contest. There's way more junk found than there is treasure. And unless, like I said, you just get incredibly lucky, like Mr. Shannon did, and just stumble onto something absolutely amazing. But that's a once in a lifetime thing. That does not happen every day. You have to be patient just to find a couple of gold rings, especially if you are not somebody that's going to go out and be hunting 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. You are not going to get rich on metal detecting, like I said, unless it's just an absolute fluke happens. Most of the time, if I go out and I'm out for 2, 3 hours, I will come home with a couple of dollars worth of change at the most. Um, Maybe a piece of costume jewelry, a whole bunch of screws and nails and pieces of aluminum can, and believe me, I would love to break out in that kind of manner and just have like that huge find. But I'm not going to quit hunting because that doesn't happen, because that's not why I started hunting in the first place. I started doing it as an adult because my doctor told me I needed to get up and get some exercise and move around, and I'm not one of those people that likes to just get up and go walking around. I want to be doing something. So what I do is I metal detect. And what in the world is this? This is weird. The weirdest shield penny I have ever seen. Someone has seriously manipulated this coin. It's actually kind of cool. Hi, Karen. Wait till you guys see this. But first, I want to read Annette's comment. I've been doing it for many years now, and I've probably found 6 gold and 9 silver rings. Okay, I did it back when my dad was alive, back when they first came out with metal detectors for a little while. And I found like 1 gold ring down at the boat ramp. And that's pretty much, the rest of it was fishing lures and that kind of thing. And since I got my detector this time in 2019, I think I have found maybe 9 or 10 silver rings and 5 gold and a couple of gold pendants where like their chain had gotten broken. But no. And I went when I lived in Georgia, I went every day, and sometimes I would be out there for 5 to 6 hours. Realistically, you just don't. It don't work that way. But I gotta show you this. This is a shield penny that somebody has really done some stuff to. Now, this side is obviously has been tinkered with, but wait till you see the other side of this thing. I think I'm going to keep this and make a piece of jewelry out of it because it's just odd, odd, odd. Now, here's the other side. And as you can see, they have obliterated the date. They have obliterated part of the face and kind of made it almost look like an Amish lady, which is kind of weird. But this is not an old coin, as far as I can tell, based on the back. It could be, though. I'm going to have to study this. There's a new one. Same initials and all of that. But somebody did a serious job on the other side. This is wild. Let me. Okay, so it would go this way. How strange is this? And like I said, this has been deliberately manipulated because they have completely wiped the date off of it. No, I think this is worse than a toning job because a toning job would not have filed the date off. The date is gone. The edge of the coin is gone. See where the date's supposed to be? It's not there. Somebody completely had a good time with this one. But I'm keeping it. I think it's really cool looking. And I'm going to see if I can find a penny bezel for it and make it into a necklace because that is definitely different. That's probably one of the strangest pennies I've ever found. Isn't that a trick? Yeah, I don't know what exactly happened to that coin, but the fact that the date is completely gone, it looks like a chimpanzee. It depends on which way you turn it. I turned it one way and it looked like an Amish lady with a prayer cap on. Just strange. A strange manipulation on that coin. But that's what makes this fun is sometimes you just find some funny stuff. Nothing there. I keep hoping that I'm going to find one of those pennies where the ear is doubled. Yeah, it does kind of look like a chimp. The more I look at it, the funnier it gets. Get these. The sound you hear is the sound of me pulling shield pennies out so I don't have to look at them. "2010, the year my whole life changed. I had never been in a hospital except in an emergency room when I got hit riding my bicycle until 2010, and that's when I started getting really, really sick. 2010 is kind of a funny year for me. So far, this is roll number 3 out of this box. And I have found no Wheaties or anything like that. But we did find that strange piece of work. You just don't know what you're going to find in here. Yeah, I've got a box full of stuff. We're going to have those of you that went to $1 Million Meg's fundraiser where they had the big race. It was $1 Million Meg and Florida Metal Detecting and a bunch of other people that did the fundraiser. Well, I've got things that came in that were donated that never got in that didn't get in the big race. So I think the 1st of December, we're going to have the not so big race where all these things that came in, I'm going to do the same format they did, where for a $4 donation, you get in each race. It's not like $4 per race. $4 will, if there's 15 races, you get one ticket for $4 and you're in all 15 races. Of course, if you wanted to buy more than one chance, donate for more than one chance, you can do that too. And that is money that goes into my moving fund because that's what these prizes were donated for. So that's another thing that's going to happen on December 1st. And some of these are small prizes, so I'm going to group them together. So, hey, James, if you wanted to donate that fines bag, that would be an awesome prize. That would be really cool. Because I've got one of the winners of one of the pinpointers donated a pinpointer back. So I never seem to have as many metal detecting prizes as I do coin collecting, and I've got some silver coins. I got some rock and roll stuff, but I don't have near as many items as they had over there for that. They raised an incredible amount of money to help me get moved. I don't know how I could ever thank those people. Just like I don't know how I can ever thank the coin crew. Leanne, I'm gonna send you an email because I have a crafting question. It kind of goes along with M3's little book. I got something I want to make and I don't know quite what I need to look for, but I know you do. So within the next day or two, I'm going to email you about that because I found some things that I want to protect. Thank you, Leanne. Well, the thing will be over. The whole purpose of the thing is to raise money to get me up there. So if I wait till I get up there, that would kind of be too late. But it was just a suggestion, you know. Yeah, because this thing that I'm doing is happening December 1st, and I'm not going to be there December 1st yet. Copper. Oh, we're not looking good on this box. Yeah, I think the dummy girl put a curse on this box. I just could not believe she didn't know the anatomy of coins. I'm not going to be here much longer. I got lots of stuff I got to get done. And before it gets too cold outside, I got to take my garbage out. Because my helper has been gone for a week. And I took a bunch out, but I cleaned my refrigerator today and it's kind of grody. So I got to get that yunk out of there. Some dead vegetables. Well, I talked to the people that promoted the Question Mark and the Mysterians show in Detroit on the 11th. and saw a little bit of video, and man, I wish I'd been there because that place was jam packed. There wasn't even, it was so packed that Q had to get somebody to walk along the edge of the stage with him when he was trying to get off the stage, because people were like hanging on the stage, and he was afraid he was going to step on somebody or slip and fall into the crowd. But I don't think we have any more shows coming until March, and then we've got like a whole Michigan, Ohio tour, which I will be there by then, and I will be so happy. Well, there wasn't much there. We did 2 rolls of the only interesting thing was the very strange penny, which I will show you one more time after I get these off my desk. No, I haven't done the contest yet. I'm getting ready to do that now as soon as I get these pennies off my table and put my Robert Ferguson treasures away. He sent me those a long time ago. Pretty cool. Very nice guy. I really like him. I get tired of people griping at him because they don't like that he once in a while throws in a video of playing the slot machines at the casino. Well, first of all, it's his money. And second, he usually is smart enough to know when he's not winning, and he just says, okay, I'm going home now. I don't want to go in the holes, so I'm going to go home. It's just something that he does. But he gets what they call comp money. When I lived where we had casinos, the casinos will give you complimentary money to play with, hoping you will spend more. Yeah, he won like a couple $100 on the one he had up there today. He understands how to read the machines and tell which ones he has the best opportunity to win on. Okay, what is this? Got a staple in it. Yeah, I was watching that earlier, and I actually learned some. And by the way, I made a mistake in the guess how much money is in the jar. I said the prize was a 53, Benji, and I need to stand corrected on that. It's a 57D, Benji. Still a Benji. Because what I think I said was a 64 Kennedy, which is also going to be given away that night. But I did make a faux pas, a fooey pooey, as one of my friends used to call him. I hate flat rate boxes because they're a ripoff. You could usually mail things cheaper in a regular box than you can in the flat rate, unless the flat rate item weighs like 50 to 70 pounds. then it's a good deal. But I usually don't use flat rate boxes unless it's going to be a super heavy item, because most of the time you come out cheaper the other way. Like, I have sent you packages I have never spent more than $7.50 on. The most expensive package I ever sent went to Canada, until the one I'm going to send next week to Doug. That's probably going to be the most expensive, and I probably will use a flat rate on his, because it's got a ton of stuff in it. I'm trying to find my giveaway. I set it down over here. I had my dinner plate in one hand and my giveaway in the other, in an envelope. Oh, I'm gonna, in the meantime, while I look for it, I'm gonna show you guys something. This is the kind of thing that gives you a heart attack when you're out detecting. Now, my lighting is not real good, but this is like super goldy gold, where it looks and feels like the real thing. But when and you could see writing on the catch to it, so I really thought I had me a treasure. But it turns out that it's like 1/20th 10-carat gold filled, which is really almost no, just enough gold to make you think you got something, but really has no major value. However, it is a very pretty chain, and I have a pendant that I found that's gold plated, and I'm going to put it on there. So, I mean, it's not a useless item. It's just not what you're hoping for when something first pops out of the ground like that, and you think, "Oh, I'm rich," and then you're like, "No, I'm not." I just thought I was for a minute or two. It's like I showed one not too long ago. It's marked 14 karat, and it kind of tested 10 karat, but it turned out it was gold filled with a fake 14 karat gold tag on it. I don't like it when people do that. It just kind of, it's not, because they charge somebody full gold price for that. And it was, it was a ripoff to somebody. Okay, finding some things here. This is not what I had planned to give away, but I cannot find the envelope. So I do have a buffalo nickel here. I have a couple of Wheaties. So it's not going to be the gift away that I wanted for tonight, but I've got a real mess going on here because I've got, oh, here's something I can add. It'll make things a little better. Ow! I cut my hand yesterday, or the day before yesterday, and I keep bumping it, and it hurts. It's one of those skin tear things. And if anybody knows Metal Detecting Brooklyn, please have Metal Detecting Brooklyn get a hold of me because they sent me stickers for giveaway, and I sent stickers back and they were returned to me saying that the address was wrong. So if anybody knows Richard, who is Metal Detecting Brooklyn, please tell him to get a hold of me because I need his correct address. Okay, we've got a couple of Metal Detecting Brooklyn stickers that can go, and he's got really cool stickers too. So I'm just kind of making a grab bag here because I cannot find the envelope where I sat it down because I was carrying my food. So we'll just do this. Let's see what this is. Oh yeah, and I haven't seen this character in here tonight, but we'll also give away a Florida Metal Detecting sticker to go in there. So it's a variety pack of things. And since there's only 4 of you, somebody's going to win. But I'm going to turn on the Nightbot just so I can make sure I don't miss anybody. Blah, 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 blah. Giveaways. Oh, I miss Mikey. I'm sorry, I do. I miss that little stinker. All right, anybody that wants in, make a comment while I put all these in a plastic bag so that they don't get messed up. We've got 2 Metal Detecting Brooklyn stickers, a Florida Metal Detecting sticker. If you are someone who does not have an It's Susie Q sticker, let me know and I'll throw one of them in too. I don't know where they are at the moment. My house is just like so. And any of you that have ever moved with a bunch of stuff, you'll understand. You know, I'm trying to pack and do it while I'm sick, and it's just a little awkward. This is a 1936 or 38, I think 38 Buffalo. It's not in the best of shape, but it's still a Buffalo. And a 44 Wheatie. What's this last one? It's a Wheatie for sure. Another 44. Well, let's switch that out. I don't want to give you 2 44s. Let's see if I can find a different. See what that one is. Don't you dare be a 44, you stinker. Oh, a 45, so there's sequential. All right, so. You're not playing, Kevin? All right, you just be that way. Oh, New Marshall popped in. Hi, New Marshall. All right, let me go over here to the Squawkadoodle Ducks. Yeah, one of the things that's going to happen after I move and I can reset all my computer stuff up, we're going to have more cameras, we're going to have better games. Um, but there's no point in me trying to set all that stuff up and then in a month I have to tear it down and put it all back up again in Michigan. So we're just going to muddle along with it like it is for now. And then when I get up there and am setting it back up, we will be um, setting it up in a better fashion where because I'm going to not be using StreamYard anymore, I don't think. I'll be using the things with online games built in and that sort of stuff because my brother got me a computer that will actually power that kind of stuff. Get that ad out of there. Alright, let me get these names real quick. And then I'll put it up on the screen. I'm missing somebody. I'm supposed to have one more. Who am I missing? Lucky James, Annette, Kevin. Somebody's missing. Annette, Kevin, New Marshall, Lucky James. Y'all help me out here. Who's missing? Because it says there's 5 people in the room. William, are you still here? William E. That's who's missing. Okay. Yeah, I figured it out. There he is. Now he's not going to be missing. William E. Duck. Doesn't that sound like an important name? Oops. Oops. Alrighty. Now I think we got everybody. Uh, whoops. I meant to put 2 minutes and 22 seconds and I put 222 minutes. That'd be one long duck race for only 4 or 5 people. Do-de-do-de-do. Do-de-do-de-do. Let me get back over here. Put this up on the screen so we can all see the duckies. There's our duckies. I found them. Eventually, Kevin will win. Poor Kevin's tried everything. He's donated to my Patreon account. I think he's donated to the PayPal account. He's donated to the buy me some coffee. Yeah, he has tried to bribe the bots with, yeah, nothing works. But yeah, you're right, William. Doug's not here, so maybe. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, we've got it set. There's my little duckies. And since we've got 2 minutes and 22 seconds, we're going to shuffle them 2 times. And then off. We're going to go. Oh, now somebody else came in. Don't know who. They got about 1 second to post something. Oh, well. Now there's 7. Come on, peoples. If you want in, you better post in the stream right now. Otherwise, I'm turning these guys loose. Now there's 8. Isn't it amazing? As soon as you start running a contest or a giveaway, people show up. That's how some of the big channels work. That's all they do is run giveaways. Yeah, Fleabag's not here either. I know where he probably is, so that's all right. When I get to Michigan, I can go hunt him down. I know where he lives. I know where he lives. I used to drive by his house every day and didn't know him then. That was pretty funny. All right, we're going to push this button. Uno, a dos, a one, a two, a three, cuatro. Oh, now here comes Florida metal detecting. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I just hit the button. Besides, you don't need to win back one of your own stickers. Yeah, this is the end of stream dream. Here comes Lucky James and William E. coming from the back. New Marshall, you do not need to take the pulse of the water. So, you can speed that up just a tad there, Bubba. Come on, Kevin. Just doing a drive-by. Come on, Kevin. Go, Kevin. Kevin hasn't won on my channel. I'm not really being prejudiced. He just hasn't been very lucky, and I like everybody to get a chance. I can always use more stickers. I'm going to do that 12 days of Christmas thing. All right, who peed in the water? And I'm also going to do, I have some prizes that came here that were really supposed to go for the big race. So December 1st, when I'm doing the giveaway on the money jar, I'm also going to do the little race where I'm going to do it the same way you and Meg and the gang did. And I have some things I'm just going to make little packets of stuff because on their own, they're not great prizes, but if you put several of them together, they're really good prizes. So we're going to do that. And we're down to 4 seconds. William E. sneaking in there. Yeah, that's right. You did. One time during the 12 days of Christmas. Once a year, we let Kevin win. So William E. gets the stickers and buffalo nickel and a couple of wheat pennies, and it's just an odds and end bag because I sat down the bag with the real prize in it. I don't know where it went. I think it may have fallen down beside the desk, in which case I can't get it out. I have to wait for Brooke to do it tomorrow. So send me your prize claim. I've only got a couple over here to do. I'm gonna try and finish everybody up this week. Uh, I'll tell you what we'll do. We will run it again, but we'll put one of these $2 bills up there. Maybe we'll win one of those. So anybody that wants in, let me see how many people we got in there now. Let's start it all over. And I mean, I'm not starting the race over, but I'm not starting the chat over. I'm just starting a new go. Where'd my duckies go? Quack-a-doodle duck, quack-a-doodle duck. Get my names. Anybody that wants in, post something in the thing. We got William, he already won. Let's take him out and put Florida metal detecting in. I already got it set up now, so I will. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the button and give away a $2 bill. I got a stack of those, so. And I'll throw this other one back over in the what you call it, the thing for the little race. Where am I? Duck race. There we go. Race de la quackadoodle. Alrighty. Delete. Let me make sure I got everybody. I got 5 and 5. And since William put that in, I'm going to put him back in the race for the $2 bill. All right. Now we got 6 in there. This time we're going to make it a short race. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Look and see. And shuffle them, and shuffle them. And they're off. As soon as I hit the right button. There we go. I'll get it here in a minute. Yeah, I had a rough day yesterday. I was supposed to have that surgery, and instead, it turned into a nightmare. I never did get my surgery. Oh my goodness. Let's put that in there. And where are we at here? Oops, I didn't get it up on the screen. What a dummy I am. There we go. We got most of it on the race. Anyway. Yeah, I am kind of tired tonight. It'll be there in a second. I forgot to hit the button. Kevin said he can't see him. He can't see himself move again. You should be able to see yourself now. I did get it back up there. Got 10 seconds left. 9, 4. Detecting. You got a deuce, a $2 bill. All right. So since I'm gonna have some help tomorrow, y'all keep your eyes open because I may have a meeting of the Deadbeat Club. I may not, but I might. I'm still trying to accumulate watch time. If I could just get the watch time, we could get monetized. Because I have everything else. What I, but I only have a little over half of the watch time because watch time scrolls off. You leave my Kevin alone. He's fine just like he is. He's waiting for the Christmas giveaway where the big stuff comes. I hope I'm going to have one. Unless I'm moving on the 12 days of Christmas because I do that every year. I just, it will be scaled down a tad, but we will have some goodies for that. I set things aside during the course of the year. Uh, so there will be some presents unless you're really bad, in which case you will get coal. Yep, yep, yep. And on that note, I am really tired. I got up at 4 a.m. yesterday. I wasn't allowed to eat anything after midnight. And I got up at 4 a.m. I got all ready for the transit to come and pick me up at 6:15, and they never showed up, and they never showed up. And they lied to me all day long. Now, the problem with that is I still couldn't eat anything because then if my ride showed up and I had eaten, I wouldn't have been able to have my surgery. So I'm sitting here all day, no food, no beverage, no ride, no nothing. And finally, it got where the hospital said if I couldn't get there by 1 o'clock, they couldn't do it. And they would have to reschedule it for 3 months from now. Well, it's almost 2 hours to the hospital, and they never showed up. And then I was so, by that point I was so upset. I mean, I was absolutely I broke down because I really need this test. We cannot proceed in Michigan with the IgG4 stuff if um, I don't get this done. And so I was so upset. I was talking to my brother and sister in law, and I just broke down. Uh, I did. So my brother's suggestion today was don't answer the phone, don't talk to any of them because the issue's still going to be the same thing the next day, and you need to calm down because it caused my AFib to kick in. It was just a bad deal. So whoever said in there that I was tired, it was 11 o'clock last night before I finally was able to go to sleep. And I came in here today not, not really doing anything. And I sat down in my chair. I listed a couple of records on eBay and sat down in my chair and fell asleep. And I woke up at 5, which is why when the show started tonight, I was still working on trying to eat my dinner because I had to cook it before I could eat it. So that was what happened. Um, Monday, we will have lots of coinage. I still have uh, 2 rolls of quarters. I've got a roll of dimes, a roll of nickels. No, I've got 4 rolls of quarters. So, and 2 rolls of dimes, 3 rolls of nickels, and almost a whole box of pennies. So, Monday night, we are stocked up and ready to rock and roll. We will have some fun on the coin show. But I really am tired, and I appreciate those of you who are kind enough to show up when that other huge show is on at the same time as me, and they're giving away silver and gold, and all I'm giving away is funny stories and M3 videos. So that makes me appreciate you guys all the more. So on that note, I'm gonna go have me a cup of tea, take my meds, and I'm gonna go sleep. M3's been keeping my electric blanket warm for me. No, we're just getting signed off, furry. But I may come on tomorrow. It depends on how much I get accomplished. And my helper is supposed to be here. She was supposed to be here today, but her little boy has an ear infection in both ears. Bless his heart. That's got to be tough when you're like 7, and you don't know what the heck's going wrong. So, anyway, I'm going to go have medicine and a beverage and get under my electric blanket and my M3 blanket and try to get some decent sleep. And I may not deal with those idiots tomorrow either. I may just take the rest of the week off because, as my brother said, it's not going to make any difference. If they can't reschedule it until January, then I can't do it anyway. So, kind of no point in dealing with them. All right, peeps. Love you all. Thank you for your support. Definitely going to be a big one Monday night. We got tons and tons of coins to go through, so that's awesome. We're also, who knows? Who knows what we're going to do? May have a turkey trot. We'll see y'all later. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.